Batgirl, and Robin, so Batman and Batwoman were like the parents, and Robin and Batgirl were the children. It became very sitcom-y. And then they started moving away from that and back into the Batman that we all know today. Because we work with a lot of other archives, we're not the only library in the building. Upstairs on the 3rd floor, we have the Social Welfare History Archive, run by my friend Linnea, who is also a comics geek. She has the papers from the Child Study Association regarding the 1952 Senate Judiciary Committee hearings and how the Child Study Association was called upon to testify, and who lost their jobs, and the newspaper clippings, and the slander. So they're using those papers together with the comics to write their group thesis project. So we're not set up like everybody else in that you can come in and check out the comics. If you want to just come in and read the comics, I'm all down with that too. We have someone who's reading through the entire run of Lucifer right now. So I just pull a box, leave it up there. He comes in like 2 days a week to read for an hour or two. So
is that his pull list?
That's his pull list right now. What did he do before Lucifer? Before Lucifer, he was doing Black Orchid, I think. So we're totally open to the public. We don't care if you're affiliated with the university or if you're the Purple Spaghetti Monster, but yeah, we're set up a little differently than everyone else in that our mission is slightly different too. It's we're a research institution as opposed to a circulating institution.
So yeah, it sounds like if you want access to the Zine Library at MCTC, do you need to be a student there?
Nope. The MCTC Zine collection is open to the public whenever we're open. It's publicly accessible. We actually had someone from the University of Minnesota Libraries in this past year doing research with our collection. He was researching technology in the 90s, and he wanted to get some primary sources. And he actually flew all the way out to the Barnard Zine collection and found out about our collection from the Barnard Zine Library. So, yeah. But hearing that story made me think, oh, well, it has been a little while since we've really actively been promoting our collection to the community. So I'm trying to.
And it continues to grow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Let me get your card at the end of this because I need to plan with you. And this is how libraries work.
Well, yeah, thanks to all of you for making comics available and you're promoting them. Does it seem to you that all of your colleagues are sort of in the same boat? Is there anybody that you feel like needs to be moved over? This kind of leads me into my next question, which is, what are comics doing for your community? And how can comics do more to serve your patrons and community? And what I'm thinking about is, in terms of publishers, thinking of topics they'd like to cover, what would be of interest to people that you work with? Is there an absence of something that you would like to see now? We talked about, it seems like there's an opportunity to utilize comics to help train new English speakers. And it does surprise me that isn't a bigger market. Now that we've kind of talked about it, I feel like, that should definitely exist. I'll probably pass that idea over to some people I know. But last year, we had Mark Siegel coming through town. He was doing this wonderful tour, meeting with librarians and different schools and just promoting the idea of comics and getting feedback. And I think his work's really important to me. He's been a very important person to talk comics with. But, in absence of him, who would do that work and what could publishers and creators be doing to do more for what you do? I talked a lot, so chew it.
I can say that for my collection, publishers being willing to either let us use the correspondence to put into our original materials file. I get a lot of art students in who want to learn about comics, who want to learn about art. And in the Curlin collection, which is our children's collection, I have all the original art, manuscripts, correspondence, etc. We're all for artists selling their finished product original art because y'all need to make money, that's all there is to it, and anyone can see the finished art in the book. But we're really interested in the process. Also, publishers have been very resistant to me saying, would you be interested in coming in and doing a free talk about, this to our faculty? Because for faculty at the U of M, I get a lot of people bringing their classes from Minneapolis College of Art and Design, from College of Visual Arts, from Hamlin, Concordia, but the U of M staff is really, really resistant. And it's getting better. I was the openly nerdy staff member when I started 5 years ago. I pulled some of my other staff members kicking and screaming out of their respective nerd closets. But the fact especially resistant to using comics, with the exception of Roy Cook, who teaches the philosophy of popular culture, and is just an amazing dude. You may have seen him. He just does programs on like She-Hulk and Breaking the Fourth Wall. And let's see, who else usually comes? Jim Keith from MCAD, but at U of M, they're just so resistant. Oh, this can't teach people anything, especially curriculum and instruction. Good Lord, you are going to be teaching the children. Think of the children. I've had too much of this today. I apologize in advance.
Meredith, there's also Jim Kakalios, though, who wrote The Physics of Superheroes. He uses it to instruct physics.
Awesome. He comes over occasionally and plays with our toys.
So, anybody else want to contribute to that? Is there anything that comics could be doing to fill a need for your patrons or your services? Would you work with, I also direct this festival. I'm going to ask from you now. One thing that I think is attractive to people coming out for a show is being able to work and partner with libraries to do educational talks and workshops. In the future, if you guys are interested in that, hit me up.
You know where to find me. You found me for this.
I did.
So it works. The new, I don't know if you know about education, they have these standards. Common Core is a brand new standard. It's this kind of new ones this year, and visual literacy is key in the new standards. That should be a way to sell our comic books and to get students using the comic format to produce products for their research and their learning at school.
I would also like to add that send advocates, try to get involved in programming at professional conferences. Basically, the best way to get the message out there is to make librarians, teachers, aware of what comics can do, and then they're more likely to add them to their collections, to their classrooms, book sets, and use them. And in fact, MLA, Minnesota Library Association Conference, is here in St. Paul next year. So.
Oh, hey.
You stole my idea. I was gonna suggest. I think it would be great to see programming at our library conferences. You can find, like, just about every breakout session. You can find a session on ebooks right now, but you can't find programming on self-publishing or independent publishing. And I think to get back to what you were saying about pulling people out of their nerd closets, I think there might be quite a few librarians who are maybe interested or kind of reading these things on their own, but may not make the connection to their libraries. And then I think there's also just an awareness issue. I was at a panel yesterday talking to a group of incoming library graduate students, and I mentioned our zine collection, and I was so happy that at least one person was brave enough to raise their hand and say, what was that? What was that word? So I just think that there's an awareness factor that maybe is an unspoken one.
Getting into library schools. We have St. Catherine's here in town in St. Paul, and the number of St. Kate students I have come in because they come in to use the various collections. They're like, comic books? You have comic books? And especially if publishers are willing to come in and not just work with the libraries and work with the schools, but don't talk down to us. We know what comics are, and so many times when I try to contact the publisher, they're like, well, do you know what we can do for you? And I'm like, honey, I'm coming to you. Don't start talking down to me. That's actually been a big problem with a couple of publishers I've talked to.
Do you want to tell us the name of the publishers?
I will not disclose the names of the guilty in case other people have had good experiences with them, and because I don't like shaming people. And if I shame them now, I can't blackmail them into doing something to me later.
I have something to add regarding public libraries. We have collection policies, and one of the things that we can do if a book is challenged is point to our collection policy and say, it's these criteria, this is why we added it to the collection, we understand your concern, but we stand by our decision to have it. A lot of that is driven by reviews. We need books that actually have had people give us a good review, bad review, tell us what's in them. And that's one of the challenges of small presses and comics, is that your stuff doesn't get reviewed by sources that librarians look at normally. There is a columnist for School Library Journal, or boy, I can't remember where, Kat Can, and she's brilliant. She was actually on the Eisner committee a few years ago. Robin Brenner is another librarian who reviews comics. And we turn to our colleagues who review comics also to try and help get them into our collections. So if you can get your materials reviewed, if you can get them into the hands of librarians that we know who are into comics so that we can use their word to, advocate for them, that's a very powerful thing.
This gets into a topic, I hope you don't mind me interrupting your thought, that has come to my attention. I'm from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and recently the middle school that educated me banned a book. And what they did is a librarian took a recommendation from a publication like that. There's a book, an anthology called Stuck in the Middle. And it's I wouldn't call it controversial, it's people talking basically about their own middle school experience, but there are things